In the midst of the impermanent sea of life, each life is like a drop of water in the ocean, clear or turbid depending on the reflection of the soul. Buddha taught that pure or impure is not determined by outsiders, but by the mind itself. Oh, this saying is like a ray of light cutting through the clouds, awakening the hearts of those lost in the illusion of seeking salvation from the outside world. My friend, life is a river, flowing fast or still depends on the wind of your own mind. We may stumble, fail a few times, and get dirty with dust, but it is our own hands that are the rain that washes us clean. No one, no matter how close, can reach the root of your soul and purify it. Only you can keep your inner sky like a clear sky well. Remember, in the Buddhist perspective, purity is not running away from trivial things, but daring to face them and keeping your mind steady like a radiant lotus rising from deep mud. Purity comes from the way you accept everything in life with a loving heart, like a kind mother embracing her rebellious child without anger. That is freedom, the open blue sky for the birds of all sorrows to fly through, but without stopping. Don't blame the world for being crooked. Blame life for being tinged with cruelty. The darkness we see is not out there, but the glass of the soul that has not been cleaned. Purifying your heart is the map to happiness. Every time you let anger fall before love, you light another fire to brighten the path of life. Every time you let go of greed, a piece of pure sky shines brightly again. Mud does not dirty the lotus because the lotus has chosen to live pure in life. Your heart is the same if you know how to recognize and correct it. Let your heart fall like rain on a blade of grass, pure without regret, gentle without calculation. By purifying ourselves every day, we find in each moment of simple living the coolness from our own heart. Purity is not a place to go, but a journey to return. When you no longer worry about holding on or letting go, pure or impure, your mind will naturally be at peace, and you will realize that purity is not a goal, but the way you are present in life, every breath, every step. Look at life as a dream without attachment. Live happily in the dust of the world, and your heart will become pure. We just live in this life, forever passing through dusty roads, never wondering where the dust that sticks to us comes from the outside world, from life's collisions, or from the obsessions and inhibitions that we nurture in our souls. The Buddha taught, purity and impurity come from within ourselves, so no one but ourselves can wash away the darkness within. Outside, this world is still noisy. There are always things that are not to our liking, not as we want, coming and going, and creating scratches that cannot be filled. But among the layers of dust, there is still a very peaceful place, peaceful like the heart of a Buddhist who has seen that purity comes from recognizing the impurities in the mind, from stepping out of the storm of afflictions to stand still before the flow of the world. At that time, the heart of a Buddhist does not need to seek purity somewhere far away, because when we are completely ourselves, in the present moment, that clear sky is great happiness. Purity is not due to what we see with our eyes, but is manifested in our perception, in every action, in every sincere smile that we give to those around us. Not because we are noble or good, but because we have seen that all things have their reasons, are connected to us, like a mirror reflecting ourselves. People can judge us, can say bad things about us, but at that time, we will be the masters of our inner peace. Only when we are pure within ourselves, no matter how chaotic life is, we can still look at everything with peaceful and loving eyes. The bitter words from others are no longer a source of hurt, but only messages that help us realize our existence in this world. Be a small stream, gentle and steadfast. Be a cool shade for all mankind, so that love will bloom in a heart without darkness. Every moment of purity is a rebirth within yourself, when you know how to let go, know how to forgive yourself and the world. Like a lotus flower that blooms from the dark mud without being stained by that black color, our mind too is always pure and open, no matter how much suffering there is out there. We are the ones who bring light to ourselves and to life. And when we are pure, we are no longer afraid in this life, because happiness is the result of stillness and self-control in the soul. Live and love like rivers that flow forever, though bumpy, still towards the vast ocean of peace. Another morning, closing a dark night, the mind is calm among memories. The roads out there are still full of storms. But my friend, sometimes it is the state of mind that we choose to master our lives. Purity or impurity is not something far away, but a choice. Each moment we can decide in our hearts. The Buddha has pointed out, self-control is the key to open the door of freedom for all troubled souls. Life still flows on, like the wind blowing across the ocean, the waves breaking white foam and then dissolving into dust. But is the river of each person like that? Isn't there in each of us an infinite power to create waves, leading us through many storms while our hearts are unshaken? Only when we understand this will we know how to harmonize life with deep peace. Purity is not a struggle with the outside world, but the mastery of our own consciousness. If you cannot avoid the storms of suffering, then stand firm within yourself like a solid mountain in the middle of the ocean. When you know how to take each ups and downs as a lesson, you will see that all the dirt on the outside will not fade your color. On the contrary, you will become a bright mirror for those who pass by. Every thought in us, every word, every action is the material that forms the inner world. And purity is not the absence of stains, but the completeness of knowing how to understand your own limitations when you know how to accept, let go, and always live in deep gratitude. Like the moon in a quiet lake, even though clouds sometimes surround, they cannot obscure that pure light. The path of purity is a separate path, not easy but wonderful, not just because of theory, but because of our heart and attitude towards this life. Truly, no one can clean you up for you. Each person, no matter how well-intentioned, can only lead us to our own door. And it is you, with sure steps, like a flower blooming in the middle of the night sea, who can find clarity, in peace, in the light blooming from deep within. Only you can teach yourself how to breathe in this life, and to be pure like that is to love more sincerely, like the morning sun warming the earth. And when we know how to purify ourselves, we will see that compassion is the true light. Every good thing from the inside out is a gift for ourselves and also for this vast world. Let's start from the heart by never forgetting that every moment you live, you are the owner of that peace. Beauty, purity in the heart, is not something easy to find in this life, where so much hustle and bustle constantly surrounds us. But then, only when we know how to look into our own souls will we understand that all purity and impurity are just reflections of an ego that is unintentionally in control. The Buddha once pointed out that all suffering is self-created, like a storm always has its own reasons beneath the waves of the deep ocean. But we are the ones who can make those waves calm again. If the heart is not pure, no matter where we go, where we are, it is just like the wind blowing away the clouds. The beauty of the soul is not something that can be changed on the outside, but is a depth, an inner state that only those who understand can feel. A person who understands the law is not someone who can change someone's life, but someone who is wise enough to recognize himself in the lessons of life. The natural purity of the soul is nothing more than the understanding that every pain, every difficulty is a sign of maturity. It is these challenges that temper our souls like ceramics baked in fire. Each time it breaks, it is reborn stronger. When we realize that what we think is dirty is actually just the dirt we have unintentionally accumulated in our hearts, we are capable of cleaning it. No one but ourselves can teach us how to live fully, because no one understands us better than ourselves. Everything from the outside world is just a mirror reflecting back. When we return to our true nature, there is no more attachment, no more desire, only inner stillness remains. The world will always change, and it is in those moments that you can maintain peace, like a lotus leaf, indifferent to the waves, gliding past without being entangled. Like the surface of water without ripples, our hearts will become a still picture. No need to paint, still naturally beautiful. When we overcome challenges and find purity within ourselves, we will understand that purity is not a destination, but a journey of living each day with a pure soul. You may still stumble, still listen to the judgments of life, but what is important is how you overcome them. Only a pure heart can see that everything comes from compassion. It is each slow, peaceful moment in the rhythm of everyday life that we nurture unconditional love. With each step in harmony with the dance of time, you are yourself in the temple of eternal love. My friend, in a world full of fog, be the light that illuminates yourself. No one but you can open the door to purity. Each of your decisions, each thought in your heart is the key that brings you closer to the path of inner peace. When nothing can shake your mind, true purity has reigned, and you will be the only light that guides your wandering steps in the land of suffering. Therefore, my friend, purity or impurity is not outside the changes around us, but is the product of how we perceive the world. People with pure souls always find beauty in the smallest things, like a blade of grass reaching through a crevice in a rock, or a bird calling you in the early morning. And people, when their hearts are burdened with sorrow, will see in life only cracks, mistakes, no different from a broken vase. Nothing is perfect. But when we look through the lens of the Buddha, we understand that in each crack there may be a candle shining. In the midst of the vast changes, life is like a river that flows endlessly. The question here is not whether you can avoid all the waves, but whether you can learn to glide gently on the surface. It is you who can stop, listen to the waves within, and acknowledge that everything will come and go, and your heart will be calm like the gentle waves after a storm. Serenity does not come from external things, but from knowing how to live fully in each moment. That wholeness only comes when you let go of attachment and see the world through the eyes of love. There is no need to pray for heaven, because heaven is truly within this heart. The Buddha taught that life is impermanent. Let your heart expand and blend into each real moment. And then, when your heart is at peace, you realize that all suffering is just a vague darkness, and that it will disappear when the light of wisdom shines. In the midst of thousands of storms, you just need to be steadfast. The light of purity will always be the torch that guides the way, and in each blooming flower, in each gentle breath, life will appear beautiful and complete when you see that purity within yourself. Accept the stumbles as a habit of learning every day, like a child grasping the first steps, then gradually walking more steadily. You yourself are also approaching the door of true freedom. Purity is compassion, not only for others, but also for yourself. At the end of this journey, you just need to remember that life is not a race to win happiness out there, but to find yourself, a journey of purification where consciousness and every thought are like gentle waves lapping the shore, to be complete in the endless light of love. Gentle winds come to the bright soul, a peaceful mind. Everything will naturally become clear. Purity and impurity are not decided by anyone, but are the result of each action, thought, and heart we aim for. Let purity begin from today, in every moment, in every breath, so that our souls, wherever they are, will always be eternal light.